You're on, sis.
Hello, I've been a member for the last 29 years. I am proud to be union strong. And when I say union strong, I mean union strong. I always have the union to back me up, and they're always there when I need backup. So I'm here now to introduce Senator Amy Klobuchar. But I first want to tell you guys a story regarding my friend James, SEIU member. James had a son by the name of Alex. He was 26 years old. Alex passed away at 26. The reason for that is of corporate greed. He had no insulin. So therefore, with him not having that, my friend Alex has passed away. I also want to allow you guys to know there was a rally that was held in Minnesota. Senator Amy Klobuchar came to the rally. I met Senator Amy Klobuchar in 2006 when we were doing the October Blitz. I want you guys all to give a big round of applause for Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Senator, welcome. Should be on.
Here we go. Hello. I'm on. Okay. Thanks so much, Cleveland. Thank you to all of you for being here. I am just so psyched. I just met with a number of your workers, especially some of the workers that were celebrating the work you did here in California with child care workers. We actually did the same thing in Minnesota, and we were excited about that. And then I also wanted to thank you for the work that you've done here in California so we stop the misclassification of workers, which is an unbelievably bad thing. So it's not just what you're doing right now, it's what you did in the last election. I think you know we were all on our heels after that presidential race. I know we were in my state, and then what happened? Did you just like put your blanket over your head? No. You organized. And you think about what you did all over the country where you organized, supported candidates that supported unions for all. And what happened? We took back the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. because of your work all over the country. You did that. So let me tell you about me and why I'm up here. I wouldn't be here without unions. My grandpa was an iron ore miner. He worked 1,500 feet underground his whole life. He first became a Teamster when he was just in middle school. He had to quit school. He had 9 brothers and sisters. His parents were sick. And then he went and worked underground in the mines. And it was very unsafe back then. And because of unions and safety, which we need in our hospitals too, SEIU workers, because of safety rules, he was able to keep working. And my dad still remembers the caskets in the church because they didn't have safety rules. And then over time, the unions made that mine safer. He saved money in a coffee can in the basement to send my dad to a community college. And my dad got a 2-year community college degree. And from there, became a newspaper man and a proud member of the Newspapers Guild. That's a union. My mom grew up poor in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, which is going to be the site of our next convention, our national convention. She grew up there, and she got a teacher's degree, and she moved to Minnesota because they had strong teachers' unions. She was in one of the first strikes of teachers. I have a picture of her that I showed after she died at the visitation of her on that picket line. And my mom ended up teaching 2nd grade until she was 70 years old. So I stand before you today. As the granddaughter of an iron ore miner and a union member, the daughter of a teacher, union member, the daughter of a newspaper man and a union member, the first woman elected to the U.S. Senate from the state of Minnesota, and a candidate for president of the United States. That is what unions, that is what unions are all about. That's it. Because we live in a country of shared dreams where no matter where you come from or who you know or who you love or where you worship, that you should be able to make it in the United States of America. But the problem right now is we've got a president who doesn't understand that and actually works against it every single day. He works against unions with the people he puts in the NLRB and the kind of judges he puts in. He works against people's hopes and promises with his mean rhetoric when he wakes up every morning and goes after immigrants, right? Uses them as political pawns. When he goes after people of color. When he says after Charlottesville that there are two sides. There's not two sides when the other side is the Ku Klux Klan. There's only one side, and that's the American side. This is a president who right now, and we see it, he embroiled himself in this, and it really actually had something to do with all of you, this impeachment proceeding. Because this is a president that doesn't seem to get that when you're president of the United States, you lead. It's not some kind of game show. You don't put your own business interests and your partisan interests and your political interests in front of the people of this country. That's what this guy did. That's what he did. And that's fundamentally, when you look at all this evidence in every corner of the world where he goes looking for dirt, that's what it's about. He put himself and his friends and his cronies in front of the interests of this country. So what I've been doing is reaching out to people all over this country, some people who feel left out in the noise and the nonsense. And I've told them that they have a home with me, and that includes everyone in this room. And you can tell for me, it's not just the policies from the head, it also comes from the heart. I went on this Blue Wall tour. Blue Wall, those states in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Iowa, that we lost in that 2016 presidential election. And I talked to those workers, and there are people, and you know some of them, that voted for Donald Trump, that have voted for Barack Obama, right? And we need to bring them back. And one of the strongest ways we bring them back is by talking about the strengths of workers organizing, that they have a place to be, that there are unions for all. And when I went on this Blue Wall tour, I told them, as we go to a state like Wisconsin that people thought was impossible to win, if you think it's impossible to win, I have 4 words for you. Former Governor Scott Walker. All right? We won that. And so this time, in 2020, SEIU members, we are going to make a blue wall. We're going to build a blue wall around those states, and we're going to make Donald Trump pay for it. So as we do this, and we make that contrast with him, we've also got to have our own optimistic economic agenda for this country. And that's where you come in with the work that you've been doing every day, with the progress that you can show you can make, even when we have this guy in the White House. You've shown you can make it because you've done it state by state by state, with our home health care workers, with our airport workers, with the work that is going on with our child care workers right now. You have shown us that progress, and then you give people the hope that we can win on a national basis, and that when we win, we make a difference, right? So for me, that means making sure that we make it easier, not harder, for unions to organize. For me, that means joining, and I have for a long time, your fight for 15 to increase the minimum wage. To me, that means making it easier to afford child care, right? Make it easier for workers to get to work, because when our economy is stronger, we are all better. And our economy cannot be strong unless unions are strong. They are completely linked in my mind. So that is the road we are on. It's that optimistic economic agenda, but also making the contrast for those people who actually thought this guy was going to do something for him. And he didn't. Those are the 2 things we need to do. So I hope you'll join me. I have won every race, every place, every time. I have won in the hardest of districts, including, and your Minnesota friends will tell you this, not once, but not twice, but not 3 times, I have won Michelle Bachmann's district. And I have done it by reaching out to people and meeting them where they are. That's what I believe that we need to do to win back America and get this guy out of the White House. Thank you, SEIU.
Thank you, Senator. So we have a few questions for you.
Good. Okay, thank you.
It's a pleasure to sit here beside you and to get to ask you the first question.
Thank you.
I would just like to tell you a little bit about my story.
Good.
I am a Jamaican, West Indies. My mother is Cuban. My father is Jamaican. I was born in that country. But today, I'm a proud citizen of this United States.
Yeah.
Before I was a citizen, I was undocumented. For 14 years. I'm sorry. I was undocumented for 14 years. During that 14 years, I gave quality of life to Americans, and I should say white Americans, who had nobody to feed them,
Right.
take them to the bathroom,
Right.
clothe them,
Right.
put them to bed at night,
Yep.
feed them,
Yep.
puree the food for them. I did that. These two hands,
You.
one body, 2 feet. I did that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. During this time of me being out of status, I was so anxious to learn about taxes. I bought a book called Taxes for Dummy. I wanted to pay taxes, but what I didn't know was that there's something called employer taxes. So now I'm in trouble. Because I'm honest and I want to pay taxes, I had to pay employer taxes and my taxes. I get so much penalty, it lead me to $25,000 in debt with the IRS. By this time, I have a baby too. I have a 1-year-old child.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Not born in this country, she came with me. By this time, I'm $25,000 in debt with the IRS. My sons filed for me on 9/11. I got my green card. When I got my green card, I decided to go to nursing school, where I became a nursing assistant. Now I'm a nursing assistant for the past 18 years with $11.99. I was lucky. Thank you. I was one of the fortunate ones that after being undocumented for 14 years, I landed in a shop where there was $11.99. $11.99 stood by me and my daughter. I had job security. I'm not a millionaire, but I was able to structure my life based on job security. My life was structured. I had health benefit. Now I can give my residents the best care ever. Because if my head hurt me, I can leave work and go to the doctor and know I don't have to worry. $11.99 on all these people in this room, they were able to stand by me. So at this time, I could go on forever, but
I think they'd want you to.
my question for you is going to be, what are you going to do and how are you going to close the gap that exists where women, immigrants, and people of color are still not faced to get the opportunity that exists? We would like you to tell the employers that our births, our graduation are just like theirs.
Exactly. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. This is who we need to put on the stage with Donald Trump, I think. All right. And I think you know why. Because he doesn't see this face, right? But listen to her story. She is the one that took care of people when they were sick, when sometimes their own family members can't do that. And this is the case for unions. This is the case for immigrants. So let's start with that. First of all, we need immigration reform in this country, and I have pledged, because I've been through this twice now. I was in the small group that worked on it when George Bush was president. He actually wanted to get it done, unlike this president. I was then in the group when President Obama was his second term, when he wanted to get this done. I was on the Judiciary Committee, and I believe in my heart we can get this done, and we can have a path to citizenship and make it much easier than this story. Because what we need to understand as a country, when we look at the needs that we have to start small businesses, to run things, to work in our fields, in our factories, to work in our nursing homes and our hospitals, immigrants don't diminish America, they are America. And that is that story right there. That's what that story is, right there. Then the other piece of this is to make sure that the workers who do this hard work get treated with respect. And that means allowing people to organize, to make it easier to make sure if there's violations that we go after the employers that violate the laws, to make sure that we reinstate employees, to go after these right-to-work laws, to stop the misclassification. All of this has to be together to get this done. But the one thing of this story that I want you to take away more than anything is what this woman has done for our country. And so why you would put her at the end of the line makes no sense when she should be at the front of the line. So I just want to thank you for that. And that's why when we fight this immigration fight, and he wants to make it sound like it's just all about crime and it's all about bad things, it's not one bit. All you have to do is walk around any workplace, any airport, any hospital in America. My own dad is in assisted living right now. And I've seen firsthand the patience of those workers. So many of them are immigrants. And I know every day when I give him a call and they answer the phone that he's in good care. My daughter was really sick when she was born, and she was in the hospital, in and out, for the first year and a half of her life. She couldn't swallow. And it was not just the workers in the hospital, it was the home health care workers that I just talked to back there who would come and help us when all these tubes she had in would come out, and I didn't know what to do. They would come and help. Literally, people's lives and their families depend on these workers. And so that's why I tell you, I believe in this not just in my head, but in my heart. And this is the face that Donald Trump needs to see. Thank you.
For this next question.
Okay. Okay.
Are you here?
Yeah.
Hola, buenos días, senadora. Mi nombre es Karen de León. Yo soy una orgullosa miembro de la local 1996 en San Juan, Puerto Rico. Y en el 2009, fui una de las 3,000 miembros de SEIU que fueron...
Not on?
Should I hear the intro? It's going to be at the end.
No. You should be hearing it now.
No, I'm not right now. Oh, this is a test of the candidates and their command of Spanish. Maybe I'll try yours. Okay. Yeah, channel 1.
Channel 1.
Okay. Do you want to? Okay.
Try it again.
Okay. You want to start over?
Okay, don't worry.
See if I hear. Okay, 1.
It's not a test.
I know, I got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, try again.
Okay. Bueno, en el 2009, ¿no? ¿Aún no?
Yeah, there's nothing coming in.
Or, hey, help us there.
Okay, is yours working?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, we got it. As usual, she came through. Okay, we got it, we got it. Okay, yeah, all right. Here we go. See? Okay.
Bueno, en el 2009 fui una de las 3,000 miembros de SEIU que perdimos nuestro trabajo cuando se comenzaron a implementar medidas de austeridad y mientras los fondos buitres se aprovechaban de la crisis financiera y económica de la isla. Los 24,000 miembros de SEIU en Puerto Rico hemos pasado por mucho en los últimos años. El huracán María devastó la isla, dejando casi 900 miembros de SEIU damnificados por el huracán, y la ayuda que se aprobó aún no ha llegado. Pero seguimos luchando en contra de los fondos buitres que se siguen aprovechando cada día de nuestra crisis económica. Seguimos luchando también para que la antidemocrática Junta de Control Fiscal que aprobó la ley promesa no nos haga más daño a los trabajadores y trabajadoras. Y seguimos luchando para tratar de tener los recursos necesarios para quienes nos quedamos en la isla. Entonces mi pregunta es, ¿qué haría usted para ayudar a reconstruir nuevamente a Puerto Rico en estos tiempos?
Okay. All right, so I was in Puerto Rico a few months ago, spent 3 days there. It was right during the height of when the Republicans in Congress were trying to deny the aid for the hurricanes to Puerto Rico. And we fought that, we won, but the money still isn't where it should be. And so I learned a lot. I met with the mayor of San Juan there and met with elected officials and heard about some of the corruption and what was going on there from many that I talked to outside of Puerto Rico. And I think you see the people now trying to take this into their own hands so they can have a government that is more fair for them and puts them first. But what I most remember is going to a school where literally it had not yet opened, and the date was on it a few days before that hurricane on the whiteboard after all that time. It was like frozen in time, and the kids were outside the school because they couldn't go in the school. So what I think we need to do is remember, first of all, that these are American citizens in Puerto Rico, number one. Number two, we have to support them and make sure that we have adequate aid to a country when it is hit by a disaster. That's number two. And number three, if we want to allow the people to run their country and make this work better, we have to support our unions and our union organizing in Puerto Rico. So that's what I would do.
Thank you, Senator. We've got a question from the floor.
Okay, good.
Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
My name is Wanda Coker. I work at Burger King, and I worked in fast food for 28 years. This is Mr. Nigel Wiggins, and he works at McDonald's. Both of us are from Durham, North Carolina, and we're both leaders in the fight for 15.
Thank you.
Even though Nigel and I work for different billion-dollar companies, we're both facing the same conditions at our jobs. We don't make enough money to pay our bills, and we work in unsafe working conditions, cooking in kitchens that reach 110 degrees or more. If workers like Nigel and I were able to come together and bargain with our employers as a united front, not just on a store-by-store basis, we would be able to set a mandate for the fast food industry and improve conditions for workers across the board. What we're seeking is to be able to bring together employers, workers, and the government at industry-wide bargaining tables to negotiate wages, benefits, and working conditions. What would you do to be able to bring this to reality?
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I want to, first of all, thank you for what you're doing, because when you work that hard, you should have a job where you can support yourself and your family. That's the first thing. And that's got to be the number one philosophy we have here as we look at it, we reach out to people, that once you say that, things just kind of fall into place. And I think what you've seen now, and I know a little bit about what you did. I've worked these jobs before. A&W, I was a root beer mug washer. And I also worked at a pie shop for 2 years, and I will say I wasn't that good at it. I did cutting of pies. I kind of messed them up. For your workers out there, I think you could outdo me any day. I once spilled 4 iced teas on one customer. That was when I decided I might try law school instead. But that is, you are doing the work, and that work should be rewarded. It is what my friend Sherrod Brown calls the dignity of work, and respecting the dignity of work. So what I would do is, first of all, yes, everyone should be at the table, and we should do this together. Government, business, and we've got to make this a major national effort, because it's going to drag our economy down if people can't go out and buy stuff, right? And that's what's happening right now if they can't afford things. So that would be the first thing I would do, is stand with you, which I have done, and make it easier to organize. The second thing is making it easier for employees to get stuff. Cleveland led with the story of the insulin and the story of that woman, the man that died in Minnesota, Alex. And I have stood with those workers because literally right now we are seeing pharmaceutical prices, healthcare prices skyrocket. We have a president that wants to kick people off of their insurance for pre-existing conditions. He has in bed with the pharma companies, even though he said that he wouldn't be, and that's because they have 2 lobbyists for every member of Congress. They do. They think they own Washington. They don't own me. So this is about health care and making our health care affordable by bringing our premiums down and doing everything to support that. Making child care affordable. Making sure that you can have a decent retirement. And that means keeping Social Security strong. I'm proud to be on Senator Sanders' bill, and I know we all miss him very much, by the way. And he and I came in together to Congress. We've worked on to the Senate, worked on pharmaceutical issues together. And when I saw his picture yesterday coming out of that hospital, I know he's going to be back at that debate stage and on this campaign trail soon. So what his bill says is, it says, let's have wealthy people pay more into Social Security and keep it strong. That's going to make a difference for you. Let's keep Medicare strong as well, and then let's make it easier for people to retire. I really appreciate SEIU support for UP Savings Account. It's a bill that I'm leading with another senator, Senator Coons, and we need to move forward with all kinds of new ideas to make workers strong in their retirement. So I look at from beginning to end, standing with you on the picket line, standing with you to organize. That is how we make this economy work, not just for the people at the top, but for everyone. Thank you.
So,
okay.
Closing remarks.
Okay, closing remarks. So I want to thank you. This has been an amazing experience for me. Sometimes you go up here, you know, and you just listen to yourself talk. It's lovely. But what I've done is listen to you talk. And that has been inspiring for me. I want you to know that despite everything that you see every day, we are on a march. We're on a fight to win, right? And we are on a march that started the day after that inauguration, that dark, cloudy day. That next day when millions of people, including many of you are SEIU members, marched across this country. That happened. Then the next day, what happened? 6,000 women signed up to run for office. That happened. Then on day 9, since that inauguration, when that president issued that mean-spirited refugee order, that anti-immigrant order, what happened? People spontaneously showed up at airports. Who does that? But they did, because they supported our immigrants and knew how ugly that was. Then you march forward. It just kept going. Day 100, with all of our hospital workers, he'll get this one, the March for Science, my favorite march, with my favorite sign, what do we want? Science. When do we want it? After peer review. You then go into the summer where we stood together and fought off that president's attempt to repeal the Affordable Care Act, and we won, the Fighting 48. Then you go to the fall, where we elected the most diverse group ever in the history of America. My favorite one was a New Jersey legislator who the day of the Women's March had said, I hope they'll be home in time to make dinner. That guy got defeated by an African-American woman. That happened. In a victory for decency and dignity in the state of Alabama, Doug Jones won that Senate seat. And then we saw Those Parkland students marching, and all across the country, kids saw them and they became icons, and then those kids voted. This is the march that we are on. We are not on this march alone. So I am asking you to not give up. Do I want to lead this march? Yes. But what is most important is that we are together, that we understand that what unifies us is so much stronger than what divides us. Let's go together. Let's win in 2020 SEIU. Unions for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. We're going to take a little break.